Hello, and welcome to my channel. I am Damien Marie AtHope. In the simplest terms, I am an atheist, humanist, philosopher, and prehistorical writer-researcher at DamienMarieAtHope.com. I am specifically an axiological atheist. An axiological atheism can be thought to involve ethical and value theory reasoned and moral argument driven apatheism, ignosticism, atheism, anti-theism, anti-religionism, secularism, and humanism. Axiological atheists can be understood as a value theory or a value science atheist. As an axiological atheism's ethically reasoned and constructive pro-humanity. I am an axiological thinker, value theorist. The science of goodness, worthiness, usefulness, valuableness, virtue, reliableness, accuracy, validity, morality, integrity, beneficialness, etc., etc. We axiologists have a value consciousness. And in general, we see the architecture of humanistic humanitarianism value in people that we see as dignity beings. Places and things are not. Axiology is a value theory. In its broadest sense, it involves areas of philosophy that are deemed to encompass some evaluative or evaluation aspect. Therefore, it crosses almost all domains in some way or another. Now for a more detailed terms as to what I am. I am an axiological atheist, an anti-theist, an anti-religionist, secularist, humanist, rationalist, writer, artist, poet, philosopher, advocate, activist with schooling in psychology, sociology, as well as I am an autodidact, self-taught in science, archaeology, anthropology, and philosophy. I promote science and am against pseudoscience, pseudo-history, pseudo-morality, things that are found in religion. I support realism, axiology, of course, liberty, justice, ethics. I am also an anarchist socialist. I support anarchism and socialism, progressivism, liberalism, philosophy, psychology, archaeology, and anthropology, advocating for sexual, gender, child, secular, LGBTQIA+, race, class rights, and equality. So if you can guess from all that, I support or challenge that I have an eclectic variety of videos on a variety of topics. Please take time to check them out, as well as if you enjoy them, please give them a like. And don't forget to subscribe, as new things are on their way all the time for my channel. Hi. This is Damien Marie AtHope, and I am an axiological atheist, which can simply be understood as a value theory or a value science atheist. And I'm here with a guest. Could you go ahead and tell us your name and then a little bit about you, like your beliefs?
Hey, glad to be with you, Damien.
Yes.
I am Anand Damani from Indore, India.
From where in India?
Indore.
Indore. Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
It's a city in central India.
Right on.
Yeah. I am a philosopher and an entrepreneur who runs his software development business. And
Cool.
Philosophy has been a key principle driving my life. I'm now 55 and I've been in philosophy since the age of maybe 7 or 8.
Wow.
When I had a very crazy incident and I decided, okay, let me know who am I, why am I here,
Right.
and what am I trying to do in this world. So I've read from Plato to Aristotle to Socrates and all the Advait and Vedic traditions in India, Confucianism from China, and I love all the TED Talks and the modern science that's trying to explain consciousness, what happens in our brain, how our brain evolved, the moral values, and try to take in as much information as I could get. And thanks to Mr. A. Nagaraj, whose philosophy of coexistence resolved all my questions. Now I have no questions that is unanswered, and I am living a very happy, resolved man.
Well,
Happy
that's
at every time. Yeah,
yeah, that's wonderful. I wouldn't say that I have all the answers.
yeah.
I would say that I know some answers and I'm trying to learn more. I would say that I don't know what you mean by coexistence, but I do believe that everyone on the planet owns themselves. Everybody, I think, has an equal right and should be treated as an equal person. And so I believe that we should live, dignity, respecting this, right in others, this other us. And so to me, I think that that whole attitude of care is something that's good for all humanity. And so that's what I would say coexistence. What do you mean by coexistence for you?
Coexistence means every single element that is there in the universe exists with the other elements. The whole atmosphere is created by the existence of all the elements that are there.
Right?
You exist, I exist. You help in my existence, I help in your existence. We are connected right now through the internet, through the medium of communication.
Right.
This medium of communication is something that we human beings thinks we have invented, and we have made this technology.
Right.
Existentially, there is another technology that is a morphogenic field that connects everything. That is the source of energy. That is what we have tried to term as God, or whatever different religions try to name it as different things, something that cannot be figured or that cannot be picturized, that cannot be explained. Different types of things people have tried doing it. And a scientist in Europe by name Rupert Sheldrake, he has defined this field very nicely, and he has tried explaining this field so that the logical part of our brain, which wants everything logically explained, needs to know things. That is the innate nature of every human being. He wants to know everything and understand everything. So the connections that every element has with every element
Well,
is
I
because
would
of.
just on that point. I don't
Yeah.
know that everyone wants to know everything. I think that we have an innate curiosity, and curiosity can lead to the desire to knowing. So I would say knowing is maybe an end result, but I don't think always, like, everybody is doing things all the time. Like, even for their own betterment. They may not think I need to plan for the future. But you do keep going to work. You do realize that how you present yourself then becomes almost who you are. So you should care about how you present yourself, how you interact with others, because you're constantly, in a sense, letting people know your values, even if you're not telling them everything in your head. Your behavior, like you said, actions in the world, absolutely become who we are, no matter what we say. In fact,
Absolutely.
sometimes people err
Perfect.
because they act one way and speak another.
That is the biggest problem that mankind is facing. You have that curiosity. To solve that curiosity, you try to know things.
Right.
And then when you know it, you start believing it. And if your belief is in alignment with the existential reality, then you are at peace. If it
Well,
doesn't align,
I would say we're at peace. Well, because peace is a psychological state.
yes.
So, in other words, there could be war and yet I feel at peace. There could be peace and I feel at war inside or with my mind. So,
To me, it's an emotional balance state you're talking about. And this goes back to the certainty thing that I always try to address with people. There's two kinds of certainty. There's psychological certainty. I am sure of it. I may not have any evidence, but I'm sure of it. That's a psychological. That can be when people usually go, it's 100%. Well, you mean psychological certainty because very few people have 100% evidence for a lot of things. I mean, when we say my spouse loves me, we have a couple incidents, but if you really understood like things through time and how much evidence, it may be enough, it may not be enough to prove that without knowing more. So evidence, which is epistemic certainty, is a certainty built on evidence. In other words, it doesn't take faith or, in a sense, belief, other than it's a presenting and then an understanding of the evidence. So what's really weird, though, is you can actually have evidence but not be psychologically certain. You could have no evidence and be psychologically certain. So I don't really, when I talk to people, I don't really care that much about their certainty as far as psychological, because it's not always accurate to even what is accurate.
Okay, so now you are talking about the two different status in which a human being can exist. He can have war outside, he can be at peace inside.
Right.
He can have war inside and be at peace outside. So this is the basic difference between a human being and the other primates and other animals that are there on this planet. This is the difference of being able to visualize and believe in things. That is a gift, that is a capacity or a gift or a boon or a bane. It's how we use that power. This is what makes us human. So we have two basically forces at work. One is the force inside, and one is the external evidence. So we are made up of, we have a soul or a working operating system or the life atom or whatever we can call it. That is what which gives us life. And then there is this physical body. This body is made up of billions of cells and the maximum number of neurons that a brain can hold. So this body of ours allows us to interact with the external world. So this interaction is a continuous process which always keeps happening. And then there is the force that is inside. It has the faculty of seeing things, feeling things, evaluating things, validating things, comparing things, and then coming to decisions. So the experience that is had or the understanding that is had is being done by the life atom that is there on the inside. So till the dawn of the 21st century.
When you say life atom, are you referring to like our psychological state of understanding? Like to me, what I feel like is we perceive the world phenomenologically. In other words, emotionally. We experience everything emotionally. Everything comes in a sense through emotional filter. That's why PTSD, in a sense, I feel, and stuff like that because you're constantly, it's a survival mechanism. If we are already ready for danger, then if danger comes, we're more ready. But the problem is we become all the time like we're wearing glasses, so it's colored all the time, and then that becomes more of a problem when we can't turn off that I'm at danger, and I always feel at danger. That to me, so when you say life force to me or soul, I see a psychological mind that has to perceive through emotions. And it's like there's one neurology guy talked about how people think that you're logical or emotional is inaccurate. We are always emoting. If we're awake, we're emoting. It's just the fact of life. That's how our brains are made. But I can see it actually, it's faster. Emotions are fast. Thinking can be slow, right? You get angry fast. And it's, but if you were to think about what is the process of anger, that takes a long time.
Oh, that's
so I mean,
exactly. The weird thing is the soul is the one that knows. It wants to know everything, including itself. So
when
the
you would say
structure,
soul, what do you mean by that word?
I mean a special kind of an atom. See, if we study chemistry,
Hmm.
in chemistry, human beings have been able to identify a lot of elements, a lot of different elements, and physics and chemistry and the sciences together, they've identified electrons and protons as the smallest particle, and now the science, they are trying to break those electrons into quarks and superior quark, inferior quark, middle quark, and they're trying to get those force and other things. Existentially, if you see, anything less than a subatomic particle is not very stable. Anything that is subatomic, immediately because of that connected field, wants to become an atom. So when we take an atom, the electrons and the protons are in order. They behave in a specific way. You have one particle in the center and the other particle going around that piece, and it is in order. They know their relationships and they behave in order. And human brains have the capacity to visualize and picture that order. They understand the order. You go to any place, anywhere, you go to a mall, you immediately position yourself, you place yourself, you find things in order, you find patterns. Our brain works super fast.
But making the statement we find patterns, we are pattern seeking. That's like saying how are humans morality, able to, well, morality, we're a social species. Some of it is ingrained in us. They already have done studies for 6-month-old children are already showing moral sort of reasoning. It's very limited to what their basic needs are, but it still shows that, like, if they take an animal and they hurt it, like a stuffed animal, and then the child acts different with that animal, especially the one that supposedly, if another stuffed animal hurt another stuff, they act differently. So they're realizing how you behave, how you treat people. I don't want to be treated like that. They start. So to me, it's a social species thing. So when you say patterns, we're good at looking for patterns. The fact that we find patterns, is an interesting thing. But we look for them anyways. This is like a.
Exactly. So I'll finish the atom story. So this atom, when we add more electrons to it, it becomes a different element. The whole story of all the physics, we have about 118, 119, or maybe 120 elements that have been identified. So these elements have different structures, and the only change that happens is the electrons from the outermost ring, they increase or decrease in number. That is how one atom changes into another atom, or two atoms combine together and to become a molecule or become something else. So this whole evolution process is one that goes in the physical form. So when this structure is happening, there is another kind of atom which has only one particle in the center, and it has two particles going around in the first circle, 8 in the second circle, 18 in the third circle, and 32 in the fourth circle. This is a kind of an atom which has only one particle in the center and 60 particles going around in 4 concentric circles. This particular structure of the atom is such that.
By the way, do you have a research that explains this?
Yeah, that is the research that was done by A. Nagarajji.
And it's scientific research? Is it published in a paper? I'm just asking. You're saying
No,
it's not published in a
something.
paper?
No. He found it out through the process of samadhi that is very popular in the Vedic culture.
What's samadhi? I don't know what that is.
Okay, you don't know what samadhi.
Well, I do know some Vedic stuff. I mean, but
Okay.
I don't know tons of Hindu or
Okay. Oh, that's perfect. That's fine. There's no big deal about it. Samadhi is a process where you focus your attention to one particular dot till the extent that you become oblivious of everything in the world and you become oblivious of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
It's known as meditation. You know meditation?
Well, so you're saying that he meditated and then he made claims that he knows information,
Yes,
but
absolutely.
science has not shown that.
Science.
No, I'm just clarifying. You said
Yeah.
I'm not trying to trip you up. I'm just asking questions.
I'm absolutely
Yeah.
open. Science, the
Right.
way
So I'm
we
just
know
saying
science,
you're saying you believe that he is correct, that when he meditated, he saw evidence that science has yet to find.
absolutely correct. I don't say I believe it, and he also said, don't believe me. He said, you try validating it. He gave 3 methods by which you can validate any information. For if I make a statement, he said there should be 3 things by which you can validate any statement.
Well, to me, it depends. See, so there's different kinds of truth, right? So there's a thing called coherence theory of truth. The coherence theory of truth, the only part I really agree with is things have to be logical and coherent to themselves. Even if I make a new term, soul, whatever, or a thing, I have to make it coherent. I cannot make an illogical statement coherent.
That is the first point for the truth. We have 2 other points. The first point of the truth is that it has to be coherent, it has to be logical,
Yes,
it has to be
true.
something which one human being can understand and he can explain to the other human being. And
Well,
the
I
other,
think that part right there, I wouldn't agree with, because it depends. Like, so I can explain some ways of understanding truth to a philosopher, but if I try to talk to regular people, they look at me and they say, I don't understand. Because I explained axiology as a method of value judging. It's a process of methodologically looking at things and assessing how much value has been given to support the justification for a claim, or the value of a thing, how true something is, how accurate, how beneficial. It's a way of assessment. So, but I explain this to some people that are not philosophers. They do not understand what I'm talking about, because their opinion of value is so limited, like money. And I mean value is in truth and in quality of evidence, in quality of character. That those are value, how something is beneficial. So it's
you're absolutely right. So when a situation like that happen, what Nagarajji has claimed is the person who is explaining the truth needs to learn more, understand the situation in which the person who is receiving the truth is, and go and explain from his level up to wherever he wants him to bring. So the transfer of truth that happens in human beings is only possible when 2 human beings understand their relationship and they try to find the truth. Both of them need to try to find the truth. What happens in the kind of
you should
conversation
always
that
want to find the truth. I totally agree.
in the conversation that you are mentioning, what is happening is the other person is not willing to listen to you. He is not willing to follow your steps and the thoughts that you bring.
I think
And
so.
the relationship is not defined, so the transfer of knowledge doesn't happen.
True, it
So
doesn't happen.
truth,
But to me, whether truth is able to be acknowledged doesn't lose its fact of its being true. So to me, truth is like a label. It's like a conclusion. I have reached a conclusion that something is true, and then my question is always, as a rationalist, what is the justification to come to that conclusion?
Okay.
And that's why I was saying that I do not, for me personally, do not think that meditating is a way of finding out truths about the biological body. So
exactly. That's what exactly he also said. He said meditation is not the route. This is random. Somebody may be able to do it, someone may not be able to do it. So this is not what reality is. If you read Noam Chomsky in his explanation about language, he has explained the reality was in existence before human beings invented language. The
That's
truth
true. Yeah,
is
I
there.
agree.
It
I
is
agree
there
with that.
also.
I agree.
Okay. So,
That's why I was
so
saying understanding isn't a method to truth. It's just a method of
exactly.
passing truth on,
So
maybe.
that could be the limitation of the language also. If I am
Oh,
not able to
definitely.
explain something to you, it could be because of the limitation of my vocabulary or your vocabulary.
True.
In reality, there is existence, and what we human beings think is the word is the reality. The word is not the reality. The word is a method between two of us to point to the existentially same substance. So the substance is the reality.
So do you feel that feeling that everything is connected to substance as reality, as you said, do you feel if that wasn't true that that would affect our morality, or is it not required for it?
Morality is again a real existentially true feeling that is there in the universe. How it gets manifested depends upon the physical build that we have. Human beings are more moral than the apes. The apes are more moral than the I wouldn't say more moral, but they manifest more morality. Between monkeys and apes, there have been lots of studies. Apes are able to morally care for other species also. Monkeys are
Well, yeah. Well,
morally caring
I've seen
for other
baboons.
species.
Even I saw a thing where they were domesticating, I think it was coyotes or wolves or something, and hunting together or something crazy. I was like, wow. But so I do believe in mutualism that animals, but once again, I would say generally it's social species with social species because it's the kind of thing that we evolutionarily desire. That's like if you
Ah,
take a person and even if you fed them, but if you made them isolated where they had no music, no sound, no people, and just them and food and water, it's not enough. It'd go crazy.
human beings need, see, this the soul life atom that I'm talking, no, it needs another human being, another soul to interact with, and
I
that
just I
interact
just don't the word soul doesn't mean anything. So what do you
I
mean by soul? You
I
say an atom.
it's
So are you
totally
saying
so.
the atom is aware? The atom that science haven't found, you're saying that atom
Yeah,
itself, just the atom is
yeah.
aware.
Yeah, that atom resides in your body, moving at lightning speed, taking the
Hold on then.
shape of.
So how do you know it's doing that? Because of his meditation also?
That's his meditation is what is he's saying that, and
I don't know. So,
I
but I'm
don't
saying, so,
believe it.
so you're, so he came up with something that science doesn't know about, and then
Yes,
not
he
only did he find it, he explained it. Then he says it goes
exactly.
all the way through your body. Has there been any other validation, or just his?
No, I've not finished the three validation techniques. So I'll explain how he explained how you anybody should validate anything. So he gave the principle. First thing is something that you can explain to some other human being, and it's not necessary I explain it in words. It's not explained. I explain it by actions because humans to human communications happens at many levels. You frown at someone, you are
Yeah.
communicating.
Oh, I agree. I got a
So
psychology degree. I agree.
so that communication has to happen. If something is true, one person will be able to communicate it to the other person, and that
But see,
communication
even if it's not true, we can be very good at communicating lies, right? We're very,
uh,
in fact, we're very
yeah,
good at
yeah. So
lying. I think it's
that
like,
brings us to the second point. That brings us to the second point of the truth. The validation, second point of the validation is it should be existentially there in reality. Without that, it cannot be true. Suppose I say water doesn't boil at 100 degrees C,
right?
and you boil water and it goes, then your truth is diminished. You can't say it is truth. It should be existentially real there. If I say there is a stone, I may give it any other name, but the
Correct.
stone
I would
is
agree with
there.
that. Yeah, I'm fine with that. Yeah,
So
it has to be
we
right.
have to check.
Which to me that would be what's called the correspondence theory of truth, which
Exactly,
is in
exactly.
philosophy the things
Correspondence
have to
theory. Perfect,
correspond to what you're talking
perfect,
about.
perfect. So when you have the human bodies
See,
functioning,
I actually
everything,
start
all
mine at the pragmatic theory of truth, at the not knowing, and then making assumptions and testing them, and then making sure that what we're testing is coherent, and then testing it in reality. That's generally how I would. But go ahead.
So that's the second part of the truth.
Mm-hmm.
The third part of the truth is that must be something which I can practice, which you can practice, which anybody in this world can practice and live happily with it. It shouldn't be some absurd thing. It has to be basically practicable in life, because
but see, like here's an absurdity.
Yeah.
Right now, the Earth is spinning and it's flying through the solar system. We know this, but I feel nothing. So it's actually a scientific absurdity to tell me that I'm right now 1,500 miles an hour. It sounds
going around the sun.
It sounds insane. So I'm just saying I don't agree that it has to always make sense. Some things don't make sense to us in a experiential way because we are not experiencing it the way it really is. Because like it goes back to phenomenology. Like we see faces all the time. Our mind is constantly looking, feeling, thinking, like you said about frowns. Why do we frown? We frown actually because it is a form of communication. Exactly. Just like when people pause words. I love you. If someone says it like that, you don't believe them. It doesn't sound like love. It's not, I love you. It doesn't. So there's even words can be in fact fake, and really the tone mean. So there's.
So the faking is another thing that human beings absorb from the society. A child will not fake.
Well, no, child will start to lie. I think it's 7 years old. There's like a they're studying on lying. It's innate for us to lie because in a sense it's a self-seeking, because we learn that society is judging us and we don't want to be judged. So we lie as in a sense a defense mechanism.
Absolutely. So the whole problem is till now, till the humanity as a society, because human being cannot be alone. He needs society.
We can't be. I would say most people, because there could be a few people, but in general, I would agree. Most people, if they're alone, it's psychologically they'll kill themselves. It's too much.
Yeah. Absolutely. He can't stay. He needs another human being to.
I agree with that. I just don't call it a soul, but I do agree that we want that.
We'll forget that word. We'll leave that thing. There is something. We'll make it X. We can call it X.
Right.
That's okay.
Yes. Okay.
So the whole objective is the society creates a culture that is in real. That's the reality.
Right.
And that culture is a social cloud or social information of knowledge or whatever you call it.
Yeah.
Noam Chomsky has done a very good study. He says you put a child in any different society, a child who is born to two white English Americans, you take that child and put it in a African American society. It will grow up there. It will absorb their culture.
Yeah. Oh, I agree. Well, in fact, even they showed that with monkeys. They wanted to study for children to learn with a monkey. And actually, they thought that the monkey would start to act like a child. But instead, the child started to act like the monkey. They had to stop it because the child was acting like a monkey.
That's the power of the human.
So, yes, the human were different. The monkey didn't follow us, but boy, we followed them.
Exactly. And that is what we have been doing. And the whole survival of the fittest theory has made us into rogues ravaging the earth. The competition mentality, which is absolutely not real. In existence, there is abundance.
I'm an anti-capitalist, so I agree. You're not going to have any argument there. I think that to me, I'm also an anarchist. To me, I realize the idea that we own the earth is a lie. There's the idea that there's an India or the United States or anything, or little lines that humans have drawn on maps.
You don't even own your body. That is what Hindu philosophy teaches us.
Well, I feel we own ourselves. It's my anarchist philosophy that we are all individual, but still important. We all have this equal value.
You are very important. You are the medium through which the soul can gain the knowledge of reality. So the seeker is the person who is bringing you to life. See, when we see dead body, there is nothing missing from that dead body other than the soul. That is the validation that we can check every day around us. What happens when a person dies?
But that's like I said. For me, that word is an emotional word to want to put a essence to what is a psychological thing. Just like I was saying about how we can misinterpret the world spinning.
Yeah.
All children before 7 are animistic, feeling the world has spirits and is connected. And so that's a natural thing. We naturally feel that. So I totally understand that people feel. I used to feel that way. I thought that even after I first became an atheist, I felt I was a spiritual atheist because I was still thinking, I didn't know at the time, but to me, animistically. Because I hadn't really talked to a lot of atheists, and I didn't read any atheist books. That's actually not how I became atheist. It has nothing to do with any famous atheists. A lot of people always go, "Oh, what about Richard Dawkins?" I'm like, yeah, 3 years after I was an atheist, I read Richard Dawkins. I didn't read him and then become an atheist. He had nothing to do with my atheism. Nothing. So for me, it was just like you said about seeking. It was really about, I wanted the truth, and I was in college,
absolutely.
and I was a Christian at the time. And they told us that we had to take a class on the Bible and on world religions. When I took a class on world religions, I didn't realize. Yeah, I used to be scared to even read other religions. I mean, I'm serious. I almost didn't take the class because I was so worried that I would find out stuff that would hurt my mind or something. I mean, I think now crazy. I mean, but I remember now how how I felt, and so I try to also be understand. I was 35 years old before I became an atheist. I was a Christian, maybe kind of hardcore. I was capitalist. I was right wing. I'm like the complete opposite now of all of that. But really, it was going to college and just being open. And we took a class on the world religions, and that already made me start. Wait a minute. Every religion says they know the way to the afterlife. They say they know how to act in this life. Every religion does. And they generally say that theirs is the only one to follow. No, they don't say follow anyone you like or appeals to you. It's this or else. And I started that. That was for the first thing I went, how do I know mine's true? Was I just lucky and born in America where there happened to be Christianity as the major religion? I thought, what if I was born in India? Wouldn't I be a Hindu? Why wouldn't I be? What if I was born in Saudi Arabia? Wouldn't I be a Muslim? Would it be any truer because I was born there? Or is it true?
That's the culture. That's the upbringing.
It's culture, yes.
Yeah. So the reality of the culture is what science is not able to fathom it, how it affects. How people start behaving this way, why people behave this way, because morality is something that physical machines or any instrument made of these physical atoms can explain it. It cannot explain it. See, you have a mobile phone, I have a mobile phone.
Yeah, I do.
And we are connected. So those rays our eyes can't see them. We make some special machines that see them.
True.
And there are some special machines there are special things beyond the physical machine cannot just see them. The chemistry they've analyzed.
Let's just say that let's just say I was open to the possibility there could be something beyond what we see.
Yeah.
I don't know how anyone can say they know what it is. This is the problem for me. I'm not a skeptic. I'm a rationalist. I build like logic on top of things.
Absolutely.
So I'm not saying that there couldn't be. I don't know. What I know is we don't have any evidence of anything magical.
Exactly. There is no magic. Magic and erratic behavior is what is ruining humanity.
Well, I would say, like you said, greed, selfishness. There's definitely a few. But I think it goes back to the the thing I was trying to say about everyone owning themselves, like you said, is Hindu philosophy, which is fine if it is, but it's still my philosophy that everyone owns themselves. If you have this morality, and everyone's equal, so it doesn't matter if you're from India and I'm from America. These are do not matter. What matters is we're equal human beings. We're both valued and should have the same dignity.
Yeah. So the human body and the human life force, or whatever, let's call it X, that's okay.
Yeah.
They two combine, and they have to live through X number of years or whatever. The time is, the association is to understand whatever is happening and create good memories, enrich the planet. The our earth became rich enough so that human beings could manifest on this planet. That was because of all the other things being there. When we say human beings inhabit this planet, it is because this planet is having the prerequisites for the human being to be here.
Yeah.
That starts from all the elements.
Yes, that's true. But my thing is, there's no mind behind that. That happened. It's amazing, but there's no mind making that happen.
No way. Nobody is making it. It is natural process that is going to happen. It can happen in any planet, and that is the cycle that will keep going on. And it's a very simple, straightforward manifestation of the two forces. There is matter, and there is the energy force that is there surrounding the universe. That's there everywhere. Between the earth and the sun, you have that void or the space or whatever you call it. Between the electron and the proton, you have that space. So between the electron and the proton, between the earth and the sun, between the Milky Way and the other galaxy, we have that is an unbroken field. It cannot be broken. You put anything inside it, it just oscillates, but that field continues to be together. It's permeable.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, so
I know some stuff about space, but let's just assume, right? Because I'm fine with assuming things. So let's assume that's true. Somehow there's an energy. I don't agree that there is some energy connecting.
That's okay.
I agree that there is elements in the world. I think that there are forces that are moving things around that are natural forces. Right. I don't think that's an energy, but I do think that in a sense that we're aware of stuff. I do think that, but like I said, to me, it is about, when you think about these things, like I say to you, if that wasn't true, does that change what you do? Because see, for me, this was a big deal. When I changed from being a Christian, I stopped hating gay people.
Oh.
Because I hadn't had a reason to.
Yeah.
I stopped hating Muslims because I didn't have a reason to. I stopped hating Hindus. I didn't have a reason to. I'm not saying it was good to be a Christian and hate, but that's what I was, a Christian that thought only I was right and everyone else doesn't matter. I mean, I'm not saying it's great, and now I think ashamed of it. I shouldn't have been that way, but I now see, like I said, because I see actually we all matter. It was always not just a religion to me. The whole cultural thing. Culture is something we make. Just like to me, people go, "There's not kindness in the world," and I go, "Yeah, that's why we need to be kind, because it does not occur in a sense without us doing it."
Innately, we are kind and benevolent. That's the baby is benevolent. Nature is benevolent. Everything else in the planet is benevolent. Our culture that we have built in this history of our existence is the one that has been inhuman. We are doing.
Well, I do think it's been inhuman. I think, and I would say from my studies, I think it starts about 7,000 years ago in Germany. In Germany, 7,000 years ago, they did 2 massacres. The first kind of really genocide thing. Well, there was one at 13,000 that somebody in Africa got genocide, but there's one by 7,000 they're owning land, which means private property. They're massacring people. By 7,000 to 5,000, all over, there's a drop in genetics, meaning that at that time, somehow 21 women to every one man. That means either a whole bunch of people died, a whole bunch of men are slaves, or they got their genitals cut off, or something happened. But that's violence. I agree with you. That's not how. That is not how society should be. And then they started in France at 5,000. They're breaking people's arms and stuff. I mean, and then you have even like the beaker culture goes in, right, to Spain. It took away, I think, if I remember right, it's 90% or 80% of the population, the male population, was removed from the genetics. I mean, that's massive. So our history, and this is like 3,500 or 4,000, if I remember right, that when the beakers first started going in. But it just shows, yes, it's been bad for a long time, and it was us hurting people. It's us. That's why I think capitalism, that the thought that we own things, and it's only mine, only for me, and take everything.
So when you mentioned you feel bad about being Christian or things like that, what I would understand it is the limitation of the knowledge that you as a human being had at that point of time.
Oh yes, I was limited, definitely. Yeah.
So the knowledge expense has to increase. You have to broaden your vision. You have to know more. You have to that curiosity part has to be kindled as long as you are there in the body, so that you know more and more and more till you are in the state of resolution where you are nothing weird happens in this universe. Everything that happens is in order. It's about we understand it or we don't understand it. When we don't understand,
I don't know, it's always in order. It always follows laws in a sense.
Yeah, it has
like
laws.
Ways of doing things.
There are laws, and everything happens as per law.
Yeah.
The problem is when we don't understand it.
Yeah, I agree. We don't understand a lot of things.
And then we start taking this is good, this is bad, this is this, this is what, this is our religion, this says this says this. There is the whole world religion. Spirituality and religion, they also went into mystery. And mystery is something that no human being agrees to. So all the anti-religion people that are coming is an outcome of the shortcomings of the religion.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm an anti-religious, but so not just anti-theist, anti-God, or atheist, which I don't believe in gods. I would say I'm anti-religion, and that really, for me, it's three things. It's the two pseudoscience, pseudo-history, and pseudo-morality. Nice. Yeah. If they have these things, I feel compelled to then go against them. And then the other thing is in the indoctrination of children with what I call hereditary, or actually I didn't make the label, someone else invented the term, but I like the term, hereditary religion. In other words, because you're Hindu, your children have to be Hindu. Because you're Christian, have to be Christian. Or even atheist. Because you're atheist, have to be atheist. I feel that your child has a free mind. If they want to be atheist, they want to be Hindu, they want to be Christian, they should decide. I can tell them what I think. I can tell them why I think. But to me personally, they should decide. And if religion allowed all children to actually decide, I would have a lot less problem with how they do with children. But it's not generally. I mean, I wasn't as a kid. I had to go to church. Even when I was living at the home at 19, still had to go to church if you live in my house. Mandatory. It's not a choice. So to me, that's not the way it should be. If you and I always have a problem. If it's true, you feel it's obvious, then why do you have to force it? If it's true, your children should be inspired to listen to it if it is true.
Absolutely. So the truth creates that inspiration, and that inspiration makes you find more truth, and that is how the human thing works. And as long as what you find is there in reality, it aligns with your existence, you are happy, you are motivated, you are resolved. So the whole concept of this Mr. Nagaraj, he lived for around 35 years after he found this information, and There are about 6,000 hours of audios and books and other things that he has written. People asked him questions and he answered. He went to the IITs, IIMs, Harvards, and other people from all spheres who were academicians, who were knowledgeable. They interviewed him, they asked him questions, and he wrote answers. And we have those recordings where he has tried to explain things in a way that anybody can connect to them and he can validate it for himself. There is no religion, there is no culture, it is just being human. Respect the morality that is there inside you. It is there inside you, and it is what pains people to change courses at 40, at 50, at 55. Well, you heard of the 5 biggest regrets of human beings who die?
I've heard that, but I don't remember now what it is.
Okay, that's a
but I've read that like about 5 years ago or something.
Yeah, that's a nice explanation of why human beings have those regrets. That's written by a hospital nurse who was there close working with for 25 years. She had worked with people who were chronically ill and who were just going to die. And then that book is, and there are many such theories. And thanks to internet, now all those people who spread all those theories are able to collaborate and corroborate each other's evidence. You have this scientist in England who is doing this research, and then you have someone in Australia doing the research. Everybody is coming to find out that behaving in the human way, keeping the earth safe, making economic regenerative, that is the only way to survive. So you can't.
I think we have to work together. I think we need to stop this whole nations thing, or at least curtail it somehow to where we really care about everyone. We need to change, to me, everything. We need a global world. We live.
You need to be just. So the way to do that is, instead of bringing it top down, it will go bottom up. Yeah. Every human being will first be resolved. He'll feel happy. He'll be contented. His friends, his neighbors, his family will see that resolution in him radiate. So they'll feel that,
speaking of which, my mom actually told me, even though she died a Christian, she told me that I actually became a better person than her.
Oh, beautiful.
I thought was a really
and that happened without your communicating, without your telling it.
Yeah.
She had been a Christian all her life.
Yes.
And before that, she could say, okay, my son who is not believing Christianity is a human being. As a human being is good.
Yeah, she didn't feel that at first. In fact, when she first found out, she hung up on me. And then didn't talk to me for a whole month.
It hurts.
And then I called and she goes, "I'm gonna love you anyways." And I said, "I didn't do anything wrong. What do you mean, love me anyways?" And then so she hung up again and didn't talk to me for another 2 months. And then she called back and she goes, "I love you." I go, "See, that's what it should be. I love you."
Exactly. See, the mother's affection for the child is the nature's bounty. You just can't value it. The whole concept of valuing, that it's crazy why we value things. See, you need food for your body.
Right, the hierarchy of needs values.
Okay, this Maslow theory. Maslow is the guy who gave that theory, but again, that's incomplete. It doesn't explain why people kill themselves to save others. Chimpanzees have been found to drown trying to save other animals, other chimpanzees. So that moral values is there in the chimpanzee itself.
I do think that moral values are affected by environment, like lack of resources.
Exactly.
In other words, I'm a real moral person, but let's say that you starve me, I may go do something that's immoral, even to myself, because I'm starving. Because my body kicks in it, and it's like people. I wouldn't think of eating another person, but if I was dying, there have been people that have done that. I don't think it was immoral. I think they're trying to live, but I do think it's probably emotionally hard on them.
The nourishment of the body is to be done, and there is enough. There is enough in the world for nourishing the body.
No, I really, it really makes me unhappy that anyone on this planet starves. I think
Oh,
it's ridiculous.
that's
No
it's
one
ridiculous.
should starve.
Absolutely. You are 100% right.
No
See,
old
there is
person, no
no,
young person, no child, no anybody.
no animal goes to sleep starving. You think of the number of animals that are there in the planet. See, this is the whole logic behind the evolution. Anything that evolved had its need fulfilled first, and then the evolution happens. Before a child is born, the mother's breasts are full with milk.
Well, yeah, and but I don't know. There could be some that are not born. I don't know. Do know that if you suck on some women's breasts or even a man, that they can't. Some can actually lactate, like the natural response of the sucking. And I know
Uh-huh.
too that if a mother does get milk in the breast, like you said, if you keep sucking, it keeps lasting. It keeps
Yeah,
producing. If you
yeah,
stop, then it stops. But
yeah.
yeah, no. So
That's
I
natural
think
part.
yeah.
See, before childbirth, the child needs that so that everything in the world it's already there before the human beings manifested. All the animals, they don't work, they don't have a plan, they don't plan for their future, but they are finding enough food for them to live. Only human beings are the creatures that are damaging the planet. If
Well,
you
I don't
look
know.
at the
I don't know if any other animals are not, but certainly we're working hard at it, and we know better, and we still do it. So yeah, I would say that even if there was animals that were harming the planet, they don't know it. We do know it. We should be ashamed of ourselves. We know better. So yes, I mean, I think I think that's where it's moral responsibility. If we do know and we do not act, then we have
that's
done something morally wrong.
that creates a turmoil inside. That's the war inside.
Yes,
Every
I
human
agree.
being has that war inside, and he suffers for that.
And that's why I
So,
think it's easier psychologically actually on us to do the right thing. It's
absolutely.
we feel better. I mean, and just like I know that some people they spend all their life taking. They don't know the joy of giving. I remember because I remember when I was a kid and my mom I was saying I didn't because we were poor for America. Not saying poor compared to some people, but I mean we were poor. We didn't have much to eat. Didn't have much. That we basically got clothes really instead of a lot of toys for Christmas or whatever. And we had relatives that were getting more. I felt jealous. And my mom goes, "You need to stop feeling bad because you have a lot compared to some people." So she goes, "We're going to go down to Mexico and we're going to give
Oh,
stuff to the kids in an orphanage who've been abandoned and have nothing." And
yeah.
of course, you're a kid. I didn't think about it, but we went there, and I had only this one little ball,
Oh,
and I felt ashamed that I only had one toy. There was like 5 or 6 kids. I had one little toy, and I
to
felt
give.
ashamed. First time I think I didn't give enough, and it was a very, very odd feeling because it was the first time in my life I felt like I needed to give more. That there was
Yeah,
something wrong with not giving more. I felt ashamed because I couldn't give more, and I had never experienced this feeling, you know. So but it was the very unique thing when I gave them the ball, they all played with it. And I saw the value of the ball wasn't even the ball. It was their camaraderie. It was they shared. I didn't
absolutely.
know how to share the ball. They did.
Exactly.
And that also was a very profound moment, that the joy of sharing. I shared mine, they shared together, everyone was happy. Very, very,
That's
but it's simple like
absolutely.
thing, but profound for me.
Yeah, yeah. So this is the whole cycle. Every human being in himself, he is innately good, innately just, innately honest. Only thing is he has to let that reality inside him manifest and behave. He is living in some society somewhere. He has to abide by some constitution that has been made. If it is right or wrong is not the question, but that has been made. So living within that constitution, living in the society that is, if he can start correcting himself, bit by bit, slowly understanding, it will be very easy for him to find the truth. Everybody is very close to the truth. He has just to remove the misconceptions, some things that he knows for sure are wrong, and still he abides by them because of social pressure, because of the peer pressure, because
Yeah.
this particular atom that is what I call as atom or so
Like I
whatever
said,
it
to
is.
me, I just feel like we're close to the same thinking.
Yeah,
You just add a
we
word that I
are.
don't see any value. It's for me, but I think it's the important is really like you said too is also what I told you of how I feel about religion or not is
Yeah,
how people behave. Don't
exactly.
tell me how wonderful your God is. Show me your behavior of kindness. Show me that
Exactly.
you're willing to prove that you are good in the world by doing good. I mean,
By living good every moment, every day,
yeah,
every
with
situation,
everyone.
every interaction that you have with either yourself as your see when you think, you are radiating. The radiation happens at a frequency which our machines do not still understand.
So then you don't know it's radiating. You're just assuming it is. You're
No,
saying,
we are seeing that connection. When you go to a mall or a
well,
restaurant.
I know we have mirror neurons. In other words, as I'm talking and reacting, you're mentally arranging your thoughts and reactions in a sense in sync with me.
Yeah.
But that's not the same to me as some extra thing. It's just a way that happens. It's not special. It's not in a sense. It's a social animal thing. To me, I like you talk about evolution. To me, evolution doesn't create things. It's that things that don't work die off. And then
No,
what's left is the
that's
thing
not.
that's more
No.
successful. And guess what? To me, social things are very successful. Look at how many species are social species, including even in the water, right? The fish, they swim in a school because it actually protects the group, the majority of them.
Yeah.
So, but they haven't chosen to be a fish. They haven't chosen to be aware. They just simply are. We are in existence. Things are
Yeah.
around. We do
Right.
misinterpret things. But like you said about morality, to me, we're not born evil unless we have what I would call like a psychological disturbance, something absolutely wrong with our mind. I agree. Majority of people are not born like that. But I don't think that it's correct to say that we're, in a sense, neutral. But I don't think we're all one side. In other words, like I said, we have a persuasion, if no outside influence and no mental disruption, that a general, in a sense, normal, developed person
Hmm.
is born in a sense with an innate desire, morality to fit into the group, to feel part of something, because we're a social species, just like the fish. One fish can tell another fish. That really tripped me out too, like about fish and their mind. To understand that all animals are a lot closer than I think we realize because we don't understand like a fish doesn't mean the fish doesn't have an understanding. It's high. I mean, it's just not one we understand. So I think it's important to remember that about how we see things. I saw this thing, right? They took like a glass tube and they put it on top of the water and they filled it full of water so fish could swim up in this little tube and then see out. There was tons of fish in there. It was ridiculous. It's like 50 fish. They can barely even move, but they can see. The fact that their desire to see was so great, to be able to see, like you said, some other world, to understand, to be curious, was more important than their being, in a sense, confined to movement, because their
Hmm.
mind was then free by sight.
Yeah.
So I think that like even fish, in a sense, has that curiosity, that desire to understand, to see, to experience. I don't think that means they have a soul or don't have a soul. To me, it just means that we have this thing that helped us survive. Just like why did Neanderthals not survive and us survive? Well, Neanderthals one thing, they had very small groups. They didn't seem like a small family or a couple, like two families, or it very small, 15 people. Humans, man, 50 people, 100, 300 people. Neanderthals did not do that. So they stayed more, they interacted a little bit, but they also had more isolation. This is a problem, like you said about language. You can't pass language as good. You can't pass tool technology as well. You can't pass culture as well when you do this. And of course, then you can't pass social behavior as functional. So the more social you are, which actually humans became more feminized, more, in a sense, emotional based, but that helps us interact with each other quick and more bonding. We can bond. We're good, like you talked about apes. We're good at bonding with multiple things. People bond with their cars. I mean, we are good at bonding in things that will not bond to us ever, because we have that desire. And so to me, when you talk about us seeking, I do agree that we seek. I do agree we want to understand. I do agree. I just don't call it soul. To me, it's just an evolutionary thing. Even I see the smaller or the different elements are in other animals doing the same behavior. It's not.
Okay. So I'll explain how that happens. See, the soul needs the power of the brain, and as animals evolved and they started manifesting on the planet, any animal which can receive the signal of the human being also has a soul. It also has that life atom, but the hardware is not enough. Say, suppose if I had the same operating system and different hard drives, so the computing power will be dependent both on the physical stuff as well as the soul. The soul is innately powerful. The soul in the dog is the same as the soul in the human being. The understanding that it can have through the brain of the dog is limited. It can understand a few words, it can understand social behavior, it can understand certain actions to reactions, but it cannot understand abstract things. You have dogs doing mathematics in circus and other things. They do the 2 plus 2 4.
Well, yeah. Well, first off, dogs evolved from wolves, so different dogs were evolved in a sense for different purposes. So some are smarter because they evolved them that way intentionally.
That's the
Some
canine family. The canine family, the whole family from the carnivorous animals. So just to give a big overview of how the things work, we have 4 kinds of things in existence on this planet Earth that I'm talking about. There is this material world. The material world just exists. It forms, decomposes. It forms, decomposes. It is in a cycle.
Mm-hmm.
This material world, once it had enough elements, once everything was there in the requisite quantity, we started having molecules, acids, bases, and other things, water, and all these things. They are all chemical reactions. All these reactions happened, and then the earth became richer. It became rich. It started having many things, and this resulted in the formation of the cells, the basic single cell organisms and small things which in continued to exist, and it could perspire, and it could breathe in, breathe out, and it could nourish themselves.
Well, I do know that I think that they did a study where they were able to I can't remember now exactly but something about like a one-celled organism, I think it was able to do some sort of thinking, and it doesn't have a brain. Some sort of can't remember now if it followed a line or did something, but yeah. So I do know that a single cell organism does have some reaction that seems like thought, and it shouldn't.
Then the whole story started, and then we started having all the kind of different kinds of plants, very many varieties of plants, and whatever could stabilize into the tree, and then seed to tree, tree to seed, the recycling system adopted. There were many species of plants in between which did not complete the cycle, and they got destroyed.
Yeah,
All that we see,
well, actually, life too. I mean, yeah, I know. Yeah.
are
So
different kinds of plants.
if you're saying you believe in evolution, so do I. So
So that then those plants are in existence. Those plants absorb nutrients from the soil. So they have the capacity to choose. The same soil, there are different plants, they choose different nutrients.
true.
Their cell in the root, their cell in the stem, their cell in the leaf, they are all the same cells, but they perform different functions depending on their situation.
Yeah, I don't know, but that could be. It doesn't sound insane.
That's been
I mean,
proven by
I
science.
do know some things, but I mean, I'm not claiming to know every single thing.
That's okay.
But so,
Science proves
but
it.
still,
And
so
even
you can speed it up so I can understand your 4 points because it's taking,
okay,
because I already
yeah.
agreed in evolution. So if you're saying evolution, I agree with
No,
evolution.
no. What I'm saying is they are existing. What is coexistence? I'm trying to explain. So these are the different kinds of plants and trees and all other stuff. They know to choose, know to grow, and then decay. Whenever they absorb things from the soil doesn't mind it. They coexist. Soil doesn't mind giving the nutrients to the plants, and the plants in turn, when they decay,
Well, to me, the soil doesn't have a mind or an ability to even know that the elements are being taken or not taken. So I don't think that. To
okay, that's
me,
okay.
well,
I
I'm saying
understand.
to me, I don't, the plant is taking them, and the
Yeah,
earth
the plant is
is
taking
not
and it
aware.
is nourishing them back. It nourishes back the soil. When it decays, when the fruits fall down, the soil gets enriched. So the earth as a planet as a whole, it start getting enriched. And then we had these small animals, then bigger animals, different kinds of animals.
Yeah,
We have many animals who are reproduced through eggs and other stuff.
yeah.
So they were dependent on the earth for the eggs, for the laying eggs. They needed the earth. So then we have better involved mammals who don't need the earth. They can carry their own baby ones inside themselves. So
You mean
they became,
kangaroos?
yeah. So the plants could not move. The animals could move. When animals started moving, they started flying. They started being in water. They started being on land everywhere. And then you have mammals who carry their own young ones. So
You say
this
mammoths?
mammal
Oh,
who suck their young.
mammals. I thought you
Oh,
said
sorry.
mammoths, like,
Yeah, sorry.
you know. I'm like, mammoths?
Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
So then you have these human beings who want to be free of the whole pressure between each other. They want to be innately good without the social pressure of other people making them do things which they do not like. So these four things are in existence. They are there in the planet. They have to coexist. If one of them is trying to damage the other things, the whole ecosystem will get disturbed.
Well, I do. I
These
definitely agree. There's ecosystems, and we need to
these
care
three
about them.
things, these three things are in order. They are doing what they are supposed to do. A lion is supposed to control the population of the deer, so it feeds on the deers and
Well,
makes the
I
deer.
wouldn't go as far as to say it's supposed to, but it doing that generally makes the ecosystem, yes. If there's an
Yeah.
imbalance, because if there's too many lions and they eat all the deer, that creates a problem. But yes, so it's not
Material.
have to. It's that if
Okay,
it
so
does, the
it
balance
is there.
keeps going.
It is there, and we see that we can see that. So the material world is more than the tree and fauna. The
Yeah.
fauna is more than the herbivores. The herbivores are more in number than the carnivores, and the carnivores are the basis for the whole ecosystem. And we manifested and appeared on this planet because all these three were there in sufficient and requisite numbers.
Well, I don't think that's why we appeared on the planet. I think that we evolved, and one of
Yeah.
the things is to me we evolved at 3.6 or something or 3.2 million years ago. We started eating meat. There's the
Yeah.
oldest cut marks on bone are 3,300,000 or thousand, I think is what it is, something like that.
Yeah. The
But
carbon dating gives us those dates. That's
right,
all perfectly fine. but as of now, right now, we are there existing on this planet, and we need to share the knowledge of behaving in a human way so that we are happy, we are contented, we can help other people be contented and enjoy life. That's the whole purpose.
I do think it's important for us to care. And that's why, to me, I try to push kindness. That
Yeah.
it's because how you behave, like if I said or didn't say something, but I was treating you kind, that is what
Yeah,
matters.
that
So,
absolutely matters.
so even though I'm a very hardcore atheist, I really try to be kind because I see people have value. So, and to me, since I don't believe the beliefs are always real,
Yeah.
I don't know why I would limit that from me caring. I mean, it doesn't, for me personally. I'm just saying, because some people, but I do see that some people, that's why I was asking you about your belief. If your belief was you found to be false, would you be less of a good person? And to me, if you're really a good person, it shouldn't matter the belief. You
I'll
should
change my
know
belief. I'll
that
modify
goodness
my
is an important thing to do. Of
yeah.
course, it
I'll
goes back to the thing of
improve my
what's
belief.
good. Because as a
Belief
Christian, I
systems.
thought hating people in the sense that we're not Christians was kind of good, which is wrong. I'm not saying all Christians
I
do that. I'm just saying I did
exactly.
that, unfortunately.
The belief systems is a part of me. I am not the belief systems. I can always manage, change, and modify my belief systems. That is when I know myself as a person, as a human being. It is my right to have as many beliefs, as many thoughts, as many
Yeah,
desires, as many
yes. Everyone
aspirations
owns
as I want.
themselves. I
It's
told you. That's why
unlimited,
my mom
unlimited.
also told me one time, she said, "You're really nice to me, even though you're such a hardcore atheist." And I said, "Well, to me, I think nice to you is what we should be doing, not because of my mom, but just in general. I want to be a good person. I think that
Absolutely.
what we believe, is important to us personally, but how
Okay.
we behave is important socially. How we behave socially. I mean, and
Just a sec. I'll get my charger. My laptop is
oh well,
requiring.
that's fine. I need to go. It's really been a
Okay.
good talking to you. I hope that
Yeah.
you enjoyed it as well.
Oh, I enjoy talking to you, and we'll keep in touch, and
Yeah.
we'll change as many thoughts as we can so that we can spread the goodness around.
Yes. And so
Okay.
I appreciate you taking your time to talk to me. And
Yeah.
go ahead and send me anything that you want me to, and I'll add it to the blog.
Oh, that would be nice.
What
Yeah.
any of the stuff you talked about, feel free to get,
Yeah.
and I will put it in the blog. That doesn't mean I
Yeah.
agree with it, but
It's okay.
I do think that you have a right to say what you do, and I
Yeah.
present it. So
Right.
I
Okay.
appreciate your time,
Thank
and
you.
have a good
Thank
night.
you. Yep.
Or actually, good morning for you, good night for me.
Yeah. Good morning.
Hello, and welcome to my channel. I am Damien Marie AtHope. In the simplest terms, I am an atheist humanist philosopher and prehistorical writer researcher at DamienMarieAtHope.com. I am specifically an axiological atheist. An axiological atheism can be thought to involve ethical and value theory reasoned and moral argument driven apatheism, ignosticism, atheism, anti-theism, anti-religionism, secularism, and humanism. Axiological atheist can be understood as a value theory or a value science atheist. As an axiological atheism's ethically reasoned and constructive pro-humanity. I am an axiological thinker, value theorist. The science of goodness, worthiness, usefulness, valuableness, virtue, reliableness, accuracy, validity, morality, integrity, beneficialness, etc., etc. We axiologists have a value consciousness. And in general, we see the architecture of humanistic humanitarianism value in people that we see as dignity beings. Places and things are not. Axiology is a value theory. In its broadest sense, it involves areas of philosophy that are deemed to encompass some evaluative or evaluation aspect. Therefore, it crosses almost all domains in some way or another. Now for a more detailed terms as to what I am. I am an axiological atheist, an anti-theist, an anti-religionist, secularist, humanist, rationalist, writer, artist, poet, philosopher, advocate, activist with schooling in psychology, sociology, as well as I am an autodidact, self-taught in science, archaeology, anthropology, and philosophy. I promote science and am against pseudoscience, pseudo-history, pseudo-morality, things that are found in religion. I support realism, axiology, of course, liberty, justice, ethics. I am also an anarchist socialist. I support anarchism and socialism, progressivism, liberalism, philosophy, psychology, archaeology, and anthropology, advocating for sexual, gender, child, secular, LGBTQIA+, race, class rights, and equality. So if you can guess from all that, I support or challenge that I have an eclectic variety of videos on a variety of topics. Please take time to check them out, as well as if you enjoy them, please give them a like. And don't forget to subscribe, as new things are on their way all the time for my channel.